All right, we are recording. This is Rocky Stewart for Mr. McGee. All right, so we'll start off real easy. Tell me how you and Mr. McGee met and a little bit about your friendship.
Okay, I became associated with the Alabama Credit Union League probably back in the 90s. Not long after that, got to attend our first annual meeting and get to see what that was all about. We showed up as an exhibitor and had met Joe, knew Joe, but didn't really know Joe. So at our exhibitor booth, watched Joe come up the escalator and start working the room the way he likes to work a room with his large presence. And as he circled the room, stopped and talked with and visited many of the exhibitors there in a very cordial manner, and circled the room until he came to us. And was very, it was nice. He asked who we were, what we did, how we could help credit unions, and how credit unions could help us, and what we could do together. And that was my first meeting, and it was a genuine, you could tell he cared. He cared about us and credit unions, and that was a good way to meet.
Right, perfect. Just gonna adjust your mic real quick.
Yes, you start over?
Oh, no. You're perfect. Just move it all the way over on you. You're perfect, no worries.
So this will be a question and answer thing.
It's gonna be however you'd like to do it. So if there are notes that you wanna go over, we can definitely do that.
No, yeah. We're good.
Sure. So as a personal friend of his, and you know him professionally, you know him personally, what do you think? He's obviously made a huge impact on credit unions, not just in Alabama, but across the nation. He's been a huge advocate for advocacy for credit unions. Tell me a little bit more about Joe as a genuine believer and somebody who loves credit unions. Tell me a little bit more about his passion for credit unions.
Joe is a credit union professional. He is the credit union man. He came from the banking industry, went to work for his league initially until he went to work with University Federal Credit Union and did an excellent job there until become the CEO of that credit union, and later going through a name change and making it Legacy Credit, Community Credit, Federal Credit Union as it is today. He and I have advocated all over DC together, and I'm kidding, but anyway, all that to say we've had a good time and worked hard, watched him work hard, advocating credit unions and promoting the credit union movement, and
Perfect. Why is it so important for men like Joe McGee to be recognized for everything that they've done for really a niche industry? Banks have the high majority of members. We've got a much smaller pie, if you will, slice of the pie. But why is it so important for men like Joe to be recognized for all that they've done for the credit union industry?
Let me think about that one.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Why is it important for him to be recognized?
Well, no. We'll skip that.
Okay.
Tell me about your notes, since I don't know what you have written there.
Well, I mean, jump on.
Sure. If you made notes, I definitely want you to have an opportunity to share them. That's great.
Well, why is it important for Joe to be recognized? I think one, Joe should be recognized. I think Joe is he shared his org chart with me the other day, where he said most org charts show the board is at the top of the org chart and the CEO and on down. He said the top of his org chart is his members. So Joe, it was of service to his credit union, his team, his members first. He's always served his credit union league, several board and committee positions, and has done an exemplary job in doing that. And then you mentioned advocacy, a huge proponent of advocacy and supporting the credit union movement. So all that makes him a credit union man, a credit union professional, a deserving person, and more than deserving of this award.
Okay, perfect. So, not that I twisted your arm to get here, but I kind of twisted your arm a little bit, and you definitely said yes, there was no problem, and happy to be here, but being interviewed is difficult. So what is it about Joe McGee that you would do something a little bit outside your comfort zone?
Well, I look at Joe McGee as kind of a Renaissance man. He's his own guy. I've always looked at Joe as a very smart person, and if you don't believe it, he'll tell you. But he's a very smart person and high intellect. I think he's a very talented person. many of us that sit around the pianos at night and barked out songs that he picks up on and plays for us. He says he plays by ear, and many a time he said, "Joe, you ought to start playing by hand. It's less painful that way." But anyway, he's very talented musically. Not many people know this, but from the past, Joe used to be an Elvis impersonator, complete with jumpsuit and cape. So those were fun times and good times, and he's just a good person. He is a clothes hound. He loves his clothes. His buddy Ramon kept him looking dapper over these years. He loves his weekly appointment with his hairdresser. He's all about his coif and staying sharp looking and all that. So he fashions himself or thinks calls himself a bit of a handyman. We almost lost Joe one time when he decided to repair his deck and decided to fall off his deck at about 15 feet, broke his shoulder, and in that brief fall managed to hook his ear into his claw hammer and pull his ear off. So with that, that was some interesting conversations for quite a while. But he survived, and he's with us today, thank goodness. But Joe just loves life. He's a full of life person. Loves to travel. Loves fine dining. Loves fine beverages. But more importantly, loves his family. Loves his credit union family. Loves his friends. Likes being with his friends. We love being with him, and that's why after a lot of good years together, I can honestly say Joe's one of my best friends.
Perfect. Are you at all surprised that he's won this award?
No, it took so long, but most deserve it. Good timing. Not surprised.
Perfect. Is there anything within your notes that you would like to add in terms of this interview as we're getting ready to present to Mr. McGee?
I don't know how you would segue this in there, but
yeah, you've already given me some great stuff. Just want to make sure you don't get in the car and think, "Oh, I should have said that."
Well, just where he grew up, a little bit about where he grew up.
Perfect. Let's talk about him as a younger man.
Younger man. Joe, younger man, grew up in the small town of Peterson, Alabama, where he was related to about everybody in the little town. His family had the little general store. He used to hang out there a lot. I think he watched his granddad let the local townspeople buy on credit, and they'd come back later and cash their paycheck to pay off their bill and all that. So I think that kind of fashions Joe as one of the early day payday lenders. So kidding, Joe, but attended Holt High School, excelled in the classroom and on the basketball court. Met his high school sweetheart Brenda, who he married, and she's sitting here today. So congratulations. And attended the University of Alabama, and then started his career.
Perfect. There was something that I did want to ask you. You said something. And now I'm going to get in the car and say, "Oh my goodness, why didn't I ask him that?" Oh, I got it.
Okay.
As you just alluded to, this is literally going to be played, and he'll be surprised, and I'm sure Brenda will be right next to him. So is there any special message you want to say directly to Joe as he's about to get this award? He'll be surprised as he receives it. Oh, that's okay. You can come on in. You're welcome to come on in and have a seat.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Mr. McCann. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Have you met Mr. McCann?
I've not.
This is one of Joe McGee's very best friends. This is Claude McCann. You are the board chairman, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, at Legacy.
Yes.
Well, now I got to clean up what I say, don't I?
How you doing,
Oh,
sir?
no, you don't.
Good,
No,
no,
you
Rocky
don't. No, you
Stewart.
don't.
Rocky.
I'm just kidding.
Claude
Nice-
McCann.
yes,
Nice to meet you.
We're on the
to
last
meet you.
I'm
question.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're on the last question with Mr. Stewart right now. And I've badgered him and I beat him up, and you might see him sweating a little bit. Just kidding.
Oh,
I did
all
not
right.
badger
So I
or
have
beat
to
him.
be recorded.
Oh, yes,
My
no.
goodness.
So any special message to Mr. McGee as he's literally just finding out he won and receiving this award, or not, just maybe just a special message to Mr. McGee as we would use this in the video.
Okay.
Oh, hang on one second.
Okay.
That's your little cords.
Oh, there we go.
You'll be fine. I'm really gonna use you from about right there anyways, but
Okay.
just in case. I always like to clean that up. So any special message for Joe McKee?
Special message, congratulations, well deserved, well lived, well done. Just a person that exudes the credit union experience, a person that, like I said earlier, loves his credit union. First and foremost, a family man, loves his family, talks a lot about his boys and Brenda, and with all that, just a good person. He and I talked the other night about a Tim McGraw song, Humble and Kind, and he thinks that's a philosophy that everybody should live by, and if so, it'd be a lot better place to live. So with that, love you and congratulate you, and best wishes.
How many boys does he have?
Oh gosh, well, 3, here's Joe's story. Joe, high school sweetheart, they were married 10 or 12 years, single, remarried about 2 years ago, so there's a big gap in there. And that's why I said, married his high school sweetheart, and she's here today.
Okay.
But so they've got 2 sons, and he's got a son with another wife. But so I have to count 3. I think there's maybe a 4.
This
3.
is just,
I'm just for you.
this
3,
is just
3
background.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. He's got 3. Yeah.
3 boys.